Hi, my name is Maryanne Steidinger. I'm the Director of Software Marketing for Invensys. I've been in the automation industry for almost 25 years now. I've been with Invensys for about 5 years, and I'm responsible for their advanced application products. This includes the brand names of Avantis, SimSci, as well as Wonderware. If you're familiar with Wonderware, you know that we supply a variety of software products that help companies with increasing their productivity, their visualization of their manufacturing processes, and their overall tuning of their manufacturing operations. So I'm going to talk today about the cloud in manufacturing. And let's start out with, why should you care about what the cloud is? In the simplest terms, what a cloud does is it provides you with worry-free access to applications. There are 3 different permutations of the cloud. There's a private cloud, there's a hybrid cloud, and there's a public cloud. You may be familiar with the public cloud if you use any type of online banking or customer relationship management application, or even Amazon in ordering some of their products. And what cloud computing really does is it allows you access to applications without having to have a physical server within the 4 walls of your plant. So for manufacturers, this would mean having applications such as reporting or historian or business process management and not having to host the application yourself. If you've been in the industry for a while, you may recall ASPs, or application service providers, back in the early 2000s. These were companies that set up hosting for organizations for applications that were either too complex or needed to be scaled globally and provided easy access to companies via a browser. Well, if you think of the cloud in those terms, that's exactly what it does. It provides you a browser-based access to your applications, and it provides it in one of 3 ways. Either a pure cloud, which means that you and others like you may be sharing the same application, but it stores your particular information in your instance of that cloud-based application. If you look at a private cloud, think of that as a hosted service within your 4 walls, but it allows all of the same benefits of a cloud, which is you don't have to manage the application, you don't have to worry about upgrades, you don't have to worry about customization. So basically, all you do is use it, but it provides you that security of having the application within your 4 walls, so you don't have to worry about risks or breaches. A hybrid is a mixture of both. You may use some private-based services, so the application could be hosted within your 4 walls, but there could be some parts of that application, such as the platform or some of the infrastructure, that you access through a public cloud. So why do companies care about this, and why should you as a manufacturer care about it? Well, let's look at the kinds of applications you may now have within your plant. You may have a human-machine interface, which is a visualization tool that looks at your process, grabs real-time data, and then provides you alarm and event management. You may have a data historian. This is basically a database that's optimized for time and date stamped data. And so this is grabbing lots and lots of information in real time and storing it for further analysis. You may have a manufacturing execution system. This is a software product that allows you to track from raw materials through finished goods, and it allows you to do what they call track, trace, and genealogy, or as the product was built, how it was built, where it was built, and where it's going. Then you may also have something called workflow or business process management. This is basically business logic-driven processes. It can look at people, it can look at equipment, it can look at material, and it basically provides you an infrastructure for promoting the way in which you access materials or information, and also it promotes the process. So the underlying process, it provides that foundation. With these products, some of them may need to be internal, but you can use a private cloud to really host that. Some of them need to be shared amongst maybe plants or even lines or sites, and so those could use perhaps a hybrid or even a public cloud. But the point is that with more complex applications, you may not want to take your IT resources and devote them to these applications. You may want to use companies that have the experience in order to do both the implementation as well as the maintenance and upkeep and also customization. And so that's really where the cloud comes into play. The other thing of looking at a cloud is from a financial perspective. So many of these cloud-based services are called software as a service. And basically what that means is it's either a named user or it could be concurrent users, but you pay for it on a user basis. So it could be $50 a month, it could be $100 a month, and you may buy contracts for a year at a time. But contrast that with buying an entire application and having to pay for all of the infrastructure, the hardware, the customization, and the cost of the application itself. So for simpler applications, you can see where financially it just makes sense to buy it as a software as a service. And that's why customer relationship management or CRM applications became so popular, because it was a simple application. It had widespread uniformity across a variety of industries, and it was designated and really facilitated that kind of individual record keeping that you would need to manage your customers and manage the sales process. So when you look at the cloud for manufacturing, there are certain applications that just lend themselves to a cloud. Business process management or workflow is one of them. Why? Because it's individually based. You use named people in order to participate in that workflow. And so using a similar application and doing very light customization, you can use the same application everybody else's, but just really customize it for your own instance. And so workflow becomes a very good and very simple software as a service or cloud-based service. The other one that you might consider is a reporting application. So for example, Wonderware has something that's called a historian, and there are many companies out there, including Aspen Technology and OSI Pi, GE and Rockwell and Siemens. All of these companies have data historians. They all basically do the same thing. Grab real-time data, structure it in order to do analysis and in order to do reporting. Well, you may want to keep the real-time database on your plant floor, so you may not want that on the cloud. But there's no reason that you can't look at the reporting layer, in other words, an instance of that real-time layer, and use that in the cloud. The cloud will provide access. The cloud will provide those reporting mechanisms, but again, you won't have to maintain it. So it becomes both an infrastructure as well as a support decision. So those are some of the things to look at for the cloud. There are many cloud providers such as Microsoft and Amazon and Google. Microsoft, for the most part, has been well positioned to be used within the manufacturing industry. And so, for example, Invensys uses Microsoft's cloud-based Azure services in order to provide that infrastructure. So, in a nutshell, that's what the cloud is, that's what it does, and we hope that you consider the cloud for manufacturing because, again, from a cost and a performance perspective, for some application, it just makes sense. Thank you.